Welcome. This presentation will cover strategies for managing your online course. It was developed by Martha Schwer and Jennifer Lewis. The online learning environment is different from the traditional learning environment in many ways. One important difference is that in a traditional classroom, the time commitment is finite in that most interaction occurs during the class and office hours. In an online environment, the course is available 24/7. The continuous availability of the online classroom demands that you develop new time management strategies. This presentation will discuss the importance of setting clear learner expectations for your course to ensure learners understand all of your requirements. We will also look at specific strategies to help you develop a routine to streamline teaching activities, which can save you both time and effort. We will consider effective ways to manage learning activities and look at effective tools in most course management platforms to help you gain efficiencies in managing your online course. At the beginning of the course, it is important to set expectations for the course so learners have a complete understanding of the format and structure of the course, as well as the expectations for communication and participation in the course. An expectation of participation statement can help you proactively manage expectations of learners and keep them from making inaccurate assumptions about the course. It can also be used as a tool to remind learners, if issues arise, that you clearly set out expectations at the beginning of the course. It is important that you post your communication and participation expectations in the early course materials and have each learner take a quiz on the course policies or reply to a discussion board posting about your expectations, indicating that he or she understands your expectations and does not have any questions about them. As an example, Martha has her students post a list of things they expect from a good online course after they've read the syllabus carefully. That way, she has some idea what that particular group of students actually wants or cares about in an online course. Developing a routine for all of the teaching activities during the course can help you manage your time and effort. By developing a routine, you can control the workload, which can keep you from feeling overwhelmed. Take time to develop a plan for teaching online and organize your teaching activities each week to effectively manage your available time. This is one example of a time management worksheet to help you organize and develop a routine for teaching your course online. Keep in mind that many online courses choose to avoid a Sunday night deadline because there is very limited technical support on Sundays. A Thursday or Friday deadline, for instance, ensures that students will have help desk support should they experience technical problems. To begin scheduling your time, consider all of the activities that are involved in teaching your course. In the first column of the worksheet, list all of the activities that you will need to perform each week to manage your online course. Then, add any additional activities based on the design of your course. Next, establish how much time you will need to allocate to accomplish each of these activities. If you are new to teaching, take a best guess. Generally speaking, with an average of 25 learners, each online course section should take anywhere from 8 to 10 hours per week. However, that figure will vary greatly depending on the structure of the course and your level of productivity. It is important to track the time it takes for you to complete each of the activities, but remember that over time you will build efficiencies that will reduce the time you spend on each activity. Continue to update your time allocations as you teach the course from one quarter or semester to the next, and then adjust the schedule accordingly. Next, allocate your time throughout the week for the different activities by marking the day and time to help you organize your schedule by the day of the week. If your course requires weekly setup, I recommend that you try to open up your course on the Thursday or Friday prior to the start of the new unit of study. This allows learners who are caught up with work to have an extra weekend to work ahead. It will also keep you from having to rush in on the first day of the unit and post information about the activities. Consider introducing and closing weekly activities by posting overviews and summaries. A good strategy is to introduce a unit of study by presenting an overview of the unit. Discuss any issues that you have found that learners have in the studies and point out ways to overcome them. Once the unit has closed, emailing or posting a summary of the unit activities can signal that the unit has officially ended and can provide an opportunity to summarize activities and discussions and to post your own reflections. If you do not participate in discussions, this is an opportunity to demonstrate to learners your awareness of what took place in the discussion activities. If your course is more effective than physical skill-based in terms of content, you may be using a lot of discussions. Discussions can take a lot of time to manage. Creating specific strategies for participating in weekly discussions can help reduce the time you spend responding to individual discussion posts. Consider strategies for how you participate in discussions, how you will monitor instructor-to-learner and learner-to-learner interactions, and other discussion strategies to reduce the time that you have to spend managing discussions. There are several strategies you can use to participate in discussions. One strategy is to choose specific discussions to participate in and communicate with learners where you will be interacting. Another is to summarize discussion posts from learners and to weave themes. You can also point out areas where learners are not on target and redirect them or post questions to encourage learners to expand their thinking. You can also directly interact with all learners in different discussions. You will need to keep track of learner interactions to make sure that you interact with every learner at least once. You may want to consider a strategy of having learners take on the role of moderator in the discussion, which alleviates the need for you to engage in all discussions. Your role can move to monitoring the discussions to make sure they are on target and provide feedback to the moderator to keep the discussion focused and engaged. As discussed earlier, if you choose not to participate in discussions, a discussion summary can help demonstrate your awareness of what took place during the discussions, give learners your personal perspective, and point out any misunderstandings on the topic. The important thing is to communicate to learners the strategies you will be using. Once you have an understanding of how you will engage in the discussion, you can determine how much time to allocate to participate in them. At the beginning of a course, learners do not have a sense of your grading style and may be unsure whether they are meeting your expectations in course activities. For instance, providing feedback frequently during the first few weeks of the course can help learners understand the extent to which they are meeting the discussion requirements. Once learners have an understanding of your grading, you can post grades for some assignments and reduce the number of times you send out individual written feedback. Encourage learners to become more independent and use the grading rubrics and scoring guides, as well as the feedback they have received from you on past discussions, to evaluate their own performance. For major assignments, I recommend that you give detailed feedback along with a grade each time and try to return feedback within 1 week of the deadline. Feedback templates can help reduce the amount of time you spend grading discussions and assignments, discussed in detail later in the presentation. Some instructors report most of their time can be taken up communicating to individual learners about questions they have regarding course activities. There are several communication strategies that can help you organize and reduce the number of such individual communications, including question and answer threads, technical discussion threads, and frequently asked question posts. Some learners feel they establish relationships with instructors through questions. They may know the answer already, but want to discuss the material to keep themselves involved and motivated. These are generally high-achieving students, so try hard not to discourage the approach. Keep up a lively one-to-one interaction as much as your schedule allows. However, other students may genuinely be confused and in need, particularly early in your online teaching career. These learners often have the same questions as each other, but they email you separately about them. Posting a question and answer discussion thread, such as an Ask Your Instructor thread, is one effective strategy to encourage learners to ask questions. By posting them to a public discussion thread, all learners are able to read the questions and your reply, which will reduce the number of individual replies you need to make. Have students subscribe to this thread so they are notified when a new question or answer has been added. When you receive individual correspondence that are not specific to an individual learner, copy and paste the question or issue and your response into your Ask Your Instructor discussion so that everybody can view it. Encourage learners to post to the Ask Your Instructor discussion before asking questions to see whether it was already answered, as well as to review other questions and answers that may be helpful to them. Many learners have technical issues throughout the course, so provide a link to the help desk phone number and form so learners can quickly get answers to questions that you are unable to answer. Frequently asked question documents are another excellent way to answer questions proactively. As you teach a course several times, you will begin to get an understanding of the kinds of questions and specific issues that occur during learning activities. Developing an FAQ document that answers some of the most frequently asked questions can be helpful. Documenting all questions asked throughout a semester can help you regularly update your FAQ document. It can also be used to reflect on the course activities and help you determine important edits that need to be made to resolve issues that frequently occur in the course. You may want to post the FAQ document to the Ask Your Instructor thread so it is handy for learners to review prior to asking a question. You may want to develop a system for tracking learners' special circumstances and personal details. Online, it is harder to put a name to a face, and some instructors have more difficulty remembering what students have told them when they can't mentally visualize the student telling them. The emails all look alike on screen, unlike the students themselves. We all have different ways to recall information, and you'll need to create a system that works for you. Include all comments you have received from communications from your learners indicating that they are sick, out of town, or have other reasons they cannot participate in the course or are late with assignments. It will remind you of communications from learners regarding not being able to participate, so you do not end up sending communications at the end of a unit asking why they did not participate in the discussion. Forgetting personal details can seem cruel to students who don't really realize their instructors have upwards of 125 students each semester to remember. Also include communications from learners indicating problems they are having with understanding the materials or activities for the unit. This will help you develop a clear understanding of how the learner is doing and where to focus your feedback to learners when you grade discussions at the end of the unit. You will need to manage proactive communications that you send out each week. It is important to send out proactive communications weekly to all learners who do not participate or turn in assignments. Prior to grading your discussions and assignments, determine which learners did not interact in discussions or did not turn in assignments. You can review your tracking spreadsheet for any communications from these learners, indicating reasons for their absence. For learners who have not communicated to you, send out a communication to each learner that indicates the activities they did not participate in and the timeline for completing and submitting them for a grade. It is very important to be specific about the timeline and what will happen if they are not able to turn in late work within the agreed upon timeline. Also, communicate with learners who are underperforming. If you communicate with them early on, you can determine the root cause of their underperformance and provide them resources to help them overcome their issues. Sometimes, students don't check their Madison College email regularly, so consider phoning students who don't respond to email. A proactive communication template can help you develop communications for at-risk learners. For learners who are not participating, I recommend that you send them weekly communications, and if they do not respond to your communications after a week, report them to the early alert system or give them a phone call, depending on your time that week. When talking with students, be specific about the issue and their current standing in the course. Other issues you might want to act on are writing issues, plagiarism issues, time management problems, or technology issues that are putting the learner at risk for not passing the course. This template should be used to communicate with learners after you have reached out to them informally to help them with the issue they are having. An at-risk communication is a stronger message to learners. It should include a description of the issue and details about the issues, including any recommendations you have previously made to help the learner resolve the issue. Also describe specifically what actions need to be taken, the timeline in which they must be taken, and the results that will happen if they are not taken or are taken. By proactively communicating with learners, you can provide them with specific information about the issue and how to resolve it, and make it clear what the results will be if they do not take action. This will protect you at the end of the course if learners come back and state they had no idea there was a problem or that they were never told they were failing the course. It will also help you remember what you have and have not told them. Online, at risk can mean something different than in the face-to-face classroom. Because you are at such a distance from their lives, it is really important to create enough interaction in your course that you can assess what type of learner you've got on your hands. Then you'll need to track carefully the students who are not confident and motivated. This table provides some ideas that you can use to communicate with common types of learners. I give unit overviews in my weekly video announcements each week. However, you can provide overviews through email or through textual announcements, which may be easier at first. Unit overviews can be easily reused each time you teach the course and are an excellent way for you to support learners as they begin a new unit of study. Begin your overview by stating something positive about the behaviors you have seen with learners in general. For instance, you may want to say, I really enjoyed the discussion last week and appreciate that you are getting into the discussions early and extending the dialogue with your peers. There were multiple perspectives shared, and I appreciate how everyone used their critical thinking skills as you engaged in the discussion. If you post a summary of the discussion each week, then you do not need to go any further into the previous week. If not, then you may want to provide a little more detail about the multiple perspectives that were shared and any issues that learners had in general, along with your perspective on the issue. Next, connect the previous unit with the upcoming unit. If you are introducing a new topic or project, offer a general overview of the topic or project and provide a high-level review of the upcoming units involved. You can then describe each of the individual activities for the unit, pointing out important resources, due dates, and time estimates if you have them. If you have taught the course before, point out any issues learners had in the past and recommend ways to keep learners from having the same issues. Close by encouraging learners to contact you if they have any questions or issues, and remind them of your schedule for answering emails too. Once a unit of study has ended, I recommend that you go back to your unit review and add any information in your details of the unit activities based on the issues that the learners had. The next time you teach the course, you will have your unit overview complete, and you can simply change the information in the introduction to personalize it. The first time you teach a course online, it is the most time-consuming. If you set up your interactions by using basic templates, you will be able to communicate more effectively and efficiently with all learners in a reasonable amount of time. As you teach the course over several semesters, you can reuse the templates and continue to enhance them based on lessons learned. In addition, you can personalize communications by weaving specific information from the current course into an existing template. Let's take a look at how to create templates for unit overview and summaries. Grading rubric feedback templates can help you provide timely feedback to learners. Rubrics are a great way to give learners specific feedback and allow you to develop consistent grading practices from one learner to the next. A grading rubric created using Blackboard can help you develop individual feedback and manage the actual time it takes to provide individual feedback to every learner. A grading rubric can help you determine whether learners have met the goals of the assignment. Along with feedback on the criteria in the grading rubric, you can add additional personal feedback for each person, providing more information on specific issues with the learner's work. Detailed feedback should include specifics where the learner excelled, specifics of where the learner needs improvement, actionable ways to improve performance, and a final positive statement on the learner's behavior. Begin with where the learners excelled and include information on how they can improve. Follow up with a positive statement of their behavior and leave them feeling good about themselves, and then add those specific actionable ways they can continue to improve their performance. If you develop templates with specific types of responses, you can easily copy and paste specific comments into your grading rubric template, which can save you some time in developing that individual feedback for your learners on their assignments. You can also create feedback templates with Microsoft Office 2007 Word forms or Adobe Acrobat Pro. A form allows you to include general information that you will use in all communications and specific information based on criteria that you use to grade discussions or assignments. For instance, when grading discussions, you may grade learners based on the quality of their response to the discussion, the number of learners they interact with, spelling and grammar errors, number of days in the course, and so forth. For each of these variables, you can create drop-down menus that allow you to choose the appropriate feedback for each learner. The gradebook in Blackboard is improving and contains a fairly robust set of tools to help you. However, it's pretty complicated and requires most instructors to take some workshops to get the most out of it. Be on the lookout for any Grade Center workshops offered. You'll really save time if you master this area of Blackboard. In addition to grades, from this area, you can also send course mail with feedback. The gradebook feature allows you to track enrollment of learners, enter grades, and automatically calculate midterm and final grades for individual learners. The gradebook also has statistical features that allow you to look at the distribution of grades to determine the overall performance of learners. You can add midterm and final grade columns to your gradebook and include formulas that will automatically calculate grades. This can save you time and reduce communications from learners asking about their grades. The Show Hide to Users feature allows you to release any grade as soon as you have it entered or you can choose to release it once you have finished grading all of the learner's assignments. To conclude, before you begin to teach online, you may want to consider creating a course management plan that takes into consideration some of the strategies that have been discussed in this presentation. The more time you can take before the course begins to develop those specific strategies and routines for managing your online course, the more efficient and effective you can be in facilitating it. In addition, how you manage your online course can have a direct impact on student persistence because it will allow you to streamline activities in the course, help learners overcome issues, and provide them with quality feedback to help them continue to improve their performance. For additional resources on managing your online teaching load, please feel free to check out the following resources available to you in CETL.